The prince was playing on the ground. Suddenly he realized that his brother was dragging a long tail. Even his stepmother had the same tail under her dress. He wanted to tell his father, but the king was under the control of the queen. The prince knew it was bad luck. His stepmother's secret was out. She would never let him go. Then the queen blew out a breath of green air. The prince's body began to shrink, so much so that he couldn't even hold his wooden sword. With the invasion of the green breath, the prince turned into a puppet. Then he was kicked out of the window by his brother. From then on, the country was controlled by a bunch of rats, and the puppet floated away down the stream. Years later, Rat, the pawnbroker, got his hands on the puppet. He loved Mary, who loved to dance. He expressed his love for her, but Mary resented him. Rat blackmailed Mary into marrying him with a huge debt owed by her late father, and on his way out, he gave Mary the puppet he was holding as a token of his love, and asked her to reply as soon as possible. When Mary returned to her room, threw the puppet away in anger. She looked at the photos of her family. She wished she could go back to her childhood, to play with the dolls she used to play with. But to her surprise, her wish came true. A shooting star suddenly flew in. It turned into a golden light and surrounded Mary. When she opened her eyes again, she realized that she had turned into a small person. She panicked. She ran to the front door and shouted for her mom, but she thought it was a mouse. She was going to buy a kitten to catch them, but Mary's small size meant that she didn't have to marry. But there are dangers that come with it. The smallest object can hurt her. She's just escaped from a nail, and then the makeup box fell, and the dust engulfs her in an instant. In the mist, she saw a big rat, and it was so fierce and frightening. Mary fell to the ground and retreated. The rat was closing in on her. She held up a pin at her side to fight back. The rat snatches it away. In a moment of danger, the prince came forward with his sword. He has no fear of the rat, but the rat has the advantage of size. Not only did the prince fly away, even his sword was knocked out of his hand, and when he fell to the ground, the rat turned to Mary. But when he opened his mouth, he didn't bite. The prince pulled his tail. The mouse was furious, and threw him to the ground, and held him down with his paws. Then he opened his mouth and tried to eat the prince. At that moment, a sheep came out of nowhere, and knocked the mouse off its feet. When the rat got up, he tried to deal with the sheep, and was hit by a sudden fireball. It turned out to be Father Christmas firing magic balls. The mouse was scared by the fireballs. They fled towards the hole. Mary was puzzled by the dolls. Santa explained that it was Christmas Eve. It was your wish that brought these dolls to life. Looking at her childhood dolls, Mary was happy. But then she got sad. She didn't want to be a little person all the time. Father Christmas told her not to worry, because the magic won't last forever. When the sun rises on Christmas Day, the spell will be gone, and everything will go back to the way it was. Mary's heart was at peace, and the prince came to thank the sheep, and Mary thanked the prince. But the prince said he hadn't saved anyone. He hated mice, but he didn't know why, because he had lost his memories. But his hatred of rats was engraved in his heart when he saw a mouse hole, and he went in without realizing. Father Christmas was in a panic, because to break the curse, everyone in the house had to stay where they were, in order to bring back the prince. Mary was the first to go down the rat hole, and the goat, with his lighter, followed. They outpaced Mary. They were the first to